Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tempe City Council regular council meeting. The time is now 6:16 p.m. I'm only saying that because I know Councilmember Hodge is mad at me. So, item number 1, call to order. Members of the public who attend the meeting physically are asked to maintain distance between other parties, and masks are optional for all attendees per City of Tempe policy. Alternatively, members of the public may attend the meeting virtually through Cisco WebEx events by visiting tempe.gov/councilmeetinginfo for more information. Council meetings can also be watched in real time via Cox Cable Channel 11 and at tempe.gov/tempe11. I'd like to now invite everyone who's able and willing to stand to join me for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Next up here, we don't have item 4A, but for item 4B, I will be assisted by Councilmember Chin. Councilmember Chin.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to move for acceptance of, you said item of 4B, is that correct?
That's correct.
4B 1 through 4B12.
It's been moved by Councilmember Chin for the acceptance of board, commission, and committee meeting minutes, items 4B1 through 4B12. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ooh, seconded by Councilmember Hodge, but only by that much. Please vote. Hold on here. Yeah, mine's coming on as well. And Councilmember Gardley, you vote aye? There we go. All right, and that item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. Next up, I have a few reports and announcements. Let's see, I'm going to probably just take this one. Actually, I'll read it up here, then I can go present it down here, I guess. So the first one is item 5A1, which is the Golden Guard Award. Being a lifeguard is the cornerstone of our aquatic operations, particularly during the busy summer months. For Tempe lifeguards, that means meeting the standards of the world's largest international aquatic safety and risk management firm, Ellis & Associates. Throughout the year, our lifeguard teams receive multiple unannounced audits by Ellis & Associates to ensure the highest safety standards are being met. During these audits, lifeguards are observed on stand and participate in simulated emergency drills. Throughout the summer, our hardworking lifeguards and aquatics teams perform at or above the standards set by Ellis & Associates. During one of these unannounced safety audits, one lifeguard was recognized for their individual performance in which they exhibited behaviors that surpassed the expectations of all safety standards in areas such as swimmer surveillance, professionalism, and vigilance. Lifeguard Kayla McVeigh was awarded the prestigious Golden Guard Award. This elite status is achieved by only 1% of all lifeguards evaluated at Ellis & Associates client facilities as part of their comprehensive aquatic risk management program. Richard Carroll, Ellis & Associates Senior Vice President and Chief Operating Officer, said, "Kayla McVeigh is a role model for lifeguards everywhere. Kayla's performance underscores the fact that guests at this facility are afforded the highest degree of swimmer protection. Kayla McVeigh is a lifeguard with Tempe Aquatics and primarily works at the Kiwanis Wave Pool. Kayla swims for the Arizona College Preparatory Team and takes courses at Mesa Community College. She loves to sew, draw, and do origami in her spare time. We are very fortunate to have her on her team. I'd now like to invite Kayla and her family and Tempe Aquatic staff to come up here, and I'd like to invite my council colleagues come down as we can present this award."
Okay,
Well, this belongs to you. If I go home with this, I've not done my job. Everybody in? Wonderful, thank you. Next up here, we have item 5A2, which is the Local First Arizona Green Business Certification Recognition. So when we support Tempe businesses that have taken the steps to conserve water, reduce energy use, and source goods and services from other local businesses, we are building a vibrant future for Tempe and one for Arizona that is sustainable, vibrant, and self-reliant. And that is exactly what the Arizona Green Business Program that Local First Arizona is all about. Today, we are recognizing the Tempe businesses that have gone through a tough evaluation process and have taken the necessary steps to make their practices more sustainable. We are so proud of you for taking this step and are thrilled to help recognize your success. We have 3 businesses being recognized, so when I call out your business, please come down to the front of the room to receive your certificate and take a photo. And at this time, I'll also have Local First Arizona come down and join me to hand out the certificates. Yeah, come on back. Yeah, let's all go. Let's all do it. All right, so the first business we're going to recognize this evening is the Drink Me Tea Room. And I'm going to call up Melissa Harlan. Drink Me Tea Room is an enchanting, gluten-free, and plant-based afternoon tea room located on the corner of McClintock and Warner Road. Guests can relax and enjoy organic teas and specialty cocktails accompanied by various treats, all baked in-house. Owner Melissa Harlan and her team are committed to finding new ways that they can help the environment and support their community. They keep landfill waste to a minimum by using recycled products, compostable food containers, and composting all food and paper waste generated. They are also committed to sourcing as many local organic products from growers and purveyors as possible. So I wanted to congratulate Melissa Harlan and the Drink Me Tea Room. Congratulations, thank you so much. You got a couple more? Oh, 2 more. All right. Next one this evening is the Soul Sports Running Zone. And I want to invite up Holly Amend.
All right. How are you doing? Good.
Soul Sports is a running and walking store specializing in shoes, running products, and athletic apparel located on Warner Road. They work hard to curate a fantastic customer experience and prioritize sustainability in their operations and community engagement. They have retrofitted all lighting to LEDs and have installed low-flow water fixtures and toilets to conserve both energy and water and save on costs. They also collect lightly worn shoes and donate them to underserved communities that are able to resell the shoes and create a livelihood for themselves. And once again, I want to congratulate Holly Amen from Soul Sports Running Zone. And next up, we have the Downtown Tempe Authority. And let's see, is Lori Foster here? No? Well, I'm going to go ahead and read this anyway then, because I'm already down here. Working in close partnership with the City of Tempe to increase the value, safety, and feel of Downtown Tempe, Downtown Tempe Authority is a critical piece of the sustainable development of our city into the future. They are also responsible for providing hallmark events to the community, like the Tempe Festival of the Arts, downtown parades, and Second Sundays on Mill. Downtown Tempe Authority is located in the Hayden House, the longest continuously occupied building in the whole Metro Phoenix area. This challenge did not deter DTA from making a plan to retrofit their lighting fixtures with LEDs and install motion sensors, including reducing energy costs and ambient heat in the building. DTA is also supporting the sustainability of all businesses in the downtown Tempe corridor and responding to Colorado River shortages by connecting them to Tempe water rebates, incentivizing them to change out their water fixtures that will save on costs and conserve a considerable amount of water, an increasingly precious resource. I'd once again like to thank the Downtown Tempe Authority and Lori Foster. And with that, council, you can join me right back up at the top of the dais. Thank you so much. Good to see you again. Appreciate it. Thank you. Absolutely. All right, next up, we have the Lights On After School Proclamation. And that goes, whereas the citizens of Tempe stand firmly committed to quality after-school programs and opportunities because they provide safe, challenging, and engaging learning experiences that help children develop social, emotional, physical, and academic skills. Support working families by ensuring their children are safe and productive when they are out of the classroom. Build stronger communities by involving parents, students, business leaders, and adult volunteers in the lives of young people, thereby promoting positive relationships among youth, families, and adults. Engage families, schools, and community partners in advancing the welfare of our children. Whereas during the COVID-19 pandemic, after-school programs have risen to the moment to support youth and critical supports to help youth recover from this challenging time and address their academic, social, and emotional needs. After-school programs provide engaging, hands-on learning and opportunities to connect with caring adults and peers. During the pandemic, programs have innovated to provide remote learning support, virtual programming, care for children of essential workers, meal support, wellness check-ins, and more. Today, programs are supporting young people and families as they navigate the return to school and will continue to innovate to meet ever-changing needs. And whereas Lights On After School, the national celebration of after-school programs held this year on October 20th, 2022, promotes the importance of quality after-school programs in the lives of children, families, and communities. And whereas many after-school programs across the country are facing operating challenges so severe that they are forced to consider closing their doors and turning off their lights. And whereas the City of Tempe is committed to investing in the health and safety of all young people by providing expanded learning opportunities that help our children learn and grow while helping them develop the skills essential for success for life and work, and that the lights stay on and the doors stay open for all children after school. Now, therefore, I, Corey Woods, Mayor of the City of Tempe, Arizona, do hereby declare October 20th, 2022 as Lights On After School Day in Tempe, Arizona. And since I'm just, still going here, let's see, Councilmember Garland, do we have anyone here from the Women's Club yet, do you see? No? Okay. All right, if so, then I'll ask you to accept this one then. All right. So the next one we have is for the Advocates for Children Week, and that reads, whereas the GFWC Tempe Women's Club is an organization that has a common goal of making our community a better place by enhancing the lives of others through volunteer service. And whereas since 1912, the members of GFWC Tempe Women's Club have given their time, talent, and resources to improve the lives of children in Tempe and throughout Arizona. And whereas GFWC Tempe Women's Club plays a role in efforts to advocate for the physical and emotional well-being of children by ensuring that children are protected from harmful situations, encouraging healthy physical and emotional lifestyles, and impacting policy to improve children's lives. And whereas GFW Tempe Women's Club will celebrate its dedication to the awareness and promotion of the physical and emotional well-being of children. Now, therefore, I, Corey Woods, Mayor of the City of Tempe, Arizona, do hereby declare October 23rd through 29th, 2022 as Advocates for Children Week in Tempe, Arizona, and I will present this to Councilmember Garland, who will be going to the club very soon. All right, and my last announcement is item 5A5, which is the City of Tempe Arts and Culture Commission appointment. I'd like to congratulate my good friend Lisa Roach on her appointment to the Tempe Arts and Culture Commission as outlined in item 7A1 on this evening's agenda. With that, I am done with my announcements. I'll turn to our city manager, Mr. Cheng.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Recently, we were required to cancel a work study session. We went back and looked at a couple of the items that were scheduled for that work study session to see whether or not they would be appropriate for a city manager's announcement instead. And as a result of that, looking again, we have for you two presentations tonight. 5B1 is Human Trafficking, Interdiction, and Prevention Update. I'll invite staff to come up for that presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager Ching. Good evening, Mayor Woods, Vice Mayor Adams, and members of City Council. I'm going to put on my glasses, and I'm going to hope I don't cough, okay? Thank you for the opportunity to give you an update on human trafficking prevention efforts in the City of Tempe. My co-presenter and the person who helped develop this presentation is Lily Duran, Sergeant in Tempe PD's Critical Investigations Unit. Unfortunately, she couldn't join us tonight for the reschedule, but her hands were all over this, and she is an expert in her field, and I appreciate the input that she gave me. So briefly, we just want to talk about real quick what the definition of human trafficking is, how it affects us in this city, and what we're doing in a collaborative effort between Tempe PD and Care 7 to address the issue. So we have a couple of performance measures that are related to this effort, achieving response of benchmarks measured by the community survey about victims of crime, and breaking the cycle of violence, which is very important and something that we strive to do at Care 7 in all of our program areas. So specifically, we're going to talk tonight about sex trafficking. The definition is right there, but I think the important words are force, fraud, and coercion. And just like a lot of things in our community, those are efforts used to get people to do what we want them to do when they shouldn't be. Labor trafficking is also something that the governor's office is looking at, and that is about domestic servitude. So let's talk about who's at risk. I think you can see that in the nation, the average age of entry into sex trafficking for youth is 17 years of age. Unfortunately, in Arizona, the average age is 13. So 13, I believe, can be the end of middle school, the beginning of high school. So very, very, very young people are getting involved in sex trafficking. Sex traffickers are targeting our at-risk and most vulnerable individuals, so young people who aren't fully aware of what might be occurring. Especially those folks that have some trauma on board. Maybe they have some challenges in their home life, and they lack a stable support system. So what I want you to know is that homeless individuals are particularly vulnerable to the crime of sex trafficking. Sex traffickers use all kinds of abusive behaviors and methodologies to keep their victims involved. Intimidation, physical abuse, social media threats, isolation, a lot of isolation and manipulation, oftentimes helping them to become substance dependent so that they need the trafficker as their supply. I think that what we're doing is much like domestic violence, we're using some really predictable methods to keep people engaged in these. Most of all, we're playing on their shame, their feelings of shame, the stigma attached to sex trafficking and sex work, the lack of self-worth by many of the victims that they're targeting, and really just destroying all of their hope, which is why they don't leave. All of the things that sometimes we really put the blame on victims and say, why don't you just leave? They can't, for all the reasons that we just talked about. And I think that one of the tactics that traffickers use is that they involve the victim in trafficking of future victims. And so they become complicit in the crime. And the trafficker will say, if I go down, you're going with me. So there's a lot of different reasons. And we need to be aware of that so that we can prevent it in the future. From a victim services standpoint, from Human Services and Care 7, we always try to use culturally and linguistically appropriate services across the board. Every service we provide, we take this into account with cultural humility, understanding that even if we look like our victim, our experiences are different. And the importance of having victims gain access to services that make them feel comfortable, because they won't participate. They won't leave if they can't feel comfortable. We do a lot of safety planning, a lot of let us know when you're ready, and let us put this in place at this point in time, and when you're ready for more, we'll do more. But our best day is when they just leave, and we can put them someplace safe and protected, and maybe facilitate them with their families, right? That's the best feeling. So, but it is up to the victim. Everything is up to the victim. Whatever they want to do is what we will do for them. So why is trafficking so prevalent? Highly profitable. This is the part that where Sergeant Duran would tell you that one single human can be victimized over and over and over again. There is, unfortunately, a high demand. There are a lot of sex buyers in our community. And it's very underreported and misunderstood. We often think that the victim and the trafficker are in a relationship, and they certainly are not. But that is what the trafficker wants the victim to believe. I love you. If you love me, you'll do this for me. We need money. This is how you can help. I think that some of the sex trafficking scenarios that are being targeted are all the usual suspects, right? Escort services, massage parlors. The internet is just a haven for sex traffickers. And then the indoor residential brothels, the places that may be in your neighborhood. And, well, let's say no, not in Tempe, but I think that that we've seen some really surprising numbers. So let's talk about that. Why are children being targeted? They're vulnerable. Their brains aren't fully developed. They don't have critical thinking skills. They haven't developed all those ways to get out of situations. But I want you to notice that in 2020, and we all know what 2020 brought, right? 97.5% increase in online entice reports. I mean, people were at home. People were at home and they were using their computers. And a lot of children, including some in my own family, have a lot of access to devices and the internet. And so we need to be diligent and remember that not everybody has our children's best interest at heart. So why Tempe? I mean, Tempe's beautiful. Tempe's a great place to live, work, and play. Additionally, it has access to all major freeways, lots of bordering cities, beautiful college town, lots of young people, lots of special events that draw folks to our town. And let's talk about that big football game that's going to be played here pretty soon that's bringing a lot of attention. We are working with the governor's office on regional efforts to mitigate sex trafficking during the Super Bowl. So again, Sergeant Duran and I really want to focus on the growing number of sex trafficking cases and how we can mitigate those through really education. I think that education is the most important thing we can do. Talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. Talk about it with your kids, talk about it with your teachers, talk about it with your neighbor, talk about it with your church friends. We need to talk about this and get it in the open. If we can all learn how to spot the signals of sex trafficking, we can report it and get it stopped. So our critical investigations unit has participated proactively in multidisciplinary projects that have yielded in FY22 240 arrests. So the pictures on the right are just intended to give you a snapshot of people that are buying children. Let that one sit for a minute. So what can we do? How can we help victims? We help victims through collaboration. Like I said, all of us getting involved, all of us taking responsibility. You know that we have a victim services program that is robust and has partnered with Tempe PD for years and years. And I am proud to say that just today we started moving into our new Family Advocacy Center. So that will be a one-stop shop for victims to be wrapped in love and support and services. And if they want to participate in criminal proceedings and the investigation, they're right next door. They can just go right next door. So we're making it as easy as we can. Sergeant Duran wanted me to remind you about the Hickey Family Foundation grant. I think it's actually on your agenda for tonight. And we have a new opportunity through DEMA to together, Tempe PD and Care 7 are going to apply for significant funding this year in October to hopefully hire some extra folks. We are all very, very, very busy, unfortunately. And so that is what we are hoping to do. And I'm sure that with the relationships and the partnerships and our really good track record, we will get that funding and be able to increase those services. Any questions?
Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate it. I've got a few comments here. Let me go to Vice Mayor Adams and Councilmember Garland, then Councilmember Navarro.
Okay, everyone.
Thanks, Chris. Good
You're
to see
welcome.
you again. Obviously, sex trafficking is such a horrible thing that these young folks are experiencing. I'm just, you mentioned that in Arizona, it's the age is 13 years old, and that's so young. Do you have an explanation for why it's so?
I have my personal opinion, being in the field for quite a long time and also doing a lot of work in the field of trauma.
Okay.
Arizona leads the nation in trauma perpetrated on children. There are varying opinions on why that is. Some people say it's because we're a border state. Some people say it's because we're a transient state. A lot of it is tied to not being the highest in educational quality. There are a lot of different reasons, but my personal thought is that we are a place where people move to. Families are fragmented, support systems are fragmented, and you think about when a child needs someone, they can't go next door to their grandmama's house or their auntie's. So I think that has a lot to do with it. That's my opinion. And so that's why we have programs like the Youth Specialist Program, and why we work so closely with Tempe PD is to let people know that we are here for you. You don't have to have a natural support system. We'll be your support system. So that's the message we're trying to get out. And I think that the schools have been so open to that, and allowing us to place the youth specialists in the schools has made a huge difference.
Very good. And I'm glad you mentioned that the victims are victimized over and over again, because a lot of people don't know that. They think it's like one time. I know oftentimes these victims were victims when they were children, and then they grow up to continue to be victims. So thanks for pointing that out, because I think that's an important fact. What would you say like parents need to look for when this is going on or possibly starting?
What shouldn't we look? I mean, there's so much to look for, but I think that we need to be taking phones away when our children go to bed. If you've allowed your child to have a phone, you need to take it away when they go to bed, because it's in the dark in the rooms where they're messaging. You need to not be afraid to talk to your child, and not from a place of punishment, but a place of I love you. and I want to help keep you safe. You need to be involved in their relationships. Who are their friends? Talk to their teachers. Just be involved. The more you're involved with your child's life, the more that they will feel comfortable telling you, listen, I had a hard time telling my mom stuff. So I tried to make sure that my children could tell me stuff. But I'm finding out things now that I was like, I don't need to know. It's hard. That is why we have to have other adults in their lives that they can go to.
Exactly, and I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
We live in a kind of a nomadic place in
We do.
Arizona, and
We
you
do.
can't go down the street to see your grandparents and things like
Exactly.
that. Really,
Exactly.
it is fragmented. How about our community members? Like, what would you say, like, if you are suspicious about someone in your neighborhood, or what would you say to look
I would
for?
always say err on the side of caution. If you're suspicious, report it to Tempe PD. You can call the non-emergency number. They have some really expert detectives in this area, and they will always do the investigation. I think that we have to report. We can't just, this is no longer what happens over there happens over there. It's not my business. This is all of our business. These are our children. These are our children. It's all of our business.
Well, Chris, you are such a valuable employee, and I've
Thank
had the
you.
good fortune of knowing you for a
Thank you.
very long time. So I'm so happy that you're giving us this presentation and that you're on top of this, because you're top notch. And I really appreciate also all you do for our community. It's a very draining, exhausting job some days, as I know, and you're just doing a fantastic job. And the city of Tempe is really lucky to have somebody of your quality
Thank you.
in this role. So
Thank you. I
thanks.
appreciate that. I really think the unsung heroes are the detectives, though, looking through the film and all the things that they have to watch and hear. We do the loving work, they do the really hard work. So,
Exactly.
But thank you for that. I appreciate your comments.
Yes, and thank you for pointing that out. And
Yes.
thanks to our police department for everything they do for our children
Yes, ma'am.
and everything they have to see. It's
Yeah.
brutal. So
It is
thank you very
brutal.
much, Chris.
Yes, you're welcome.
Excellent. Thank you, Vice Mayor Adams. Councilmember Garland, then Councilmember Navarro.
Thank you. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
I am so excited about the Family Advocacy Center. I mean, that we've been talking about it ever since we started our committee, and you guys have been working on it, or at least it was brought up in the Family Justice Commission.
Years we've
2015,
been working toward this, yes.
2017, 2019. So
Yes.
I'm so excited about that,
Yes.
because you guys are going to really make a difference to the victims, and even to your staff, to be able to have everybody underneath one roof. It's an amazing building. I'm so happy for that. So thank you so much. I wanted to say that what can we do, council members up here, do to make a difference or to help with this? And one of the things I started to write down on here is, do you have flyers or talking points that you can give us, but mainly like flyers or something that we can share on our social media sites that, as you said, make people aware that it's here, what we can do to be looking out for the kids around our community?
Absolutely.
If you can share that with us, I would be more than happy to
I
share
will,
that.
and as the Super Bowl draws nearer, we'll have much more kind of regional stuff that we can highlight as well. I think what I would ask council to do is, if you don't know much about trauma, let us teach you. If you just keep always thinking about the kids. To me, that's the most important part. And if we just, every time you get the opportunity, when you're talking to constituents, or you're at your church, or you're talking to your people, your neighbors in your neighborhood, let them know that Tempe is we're a very innovative city that has done some fantastic things, and we don't want people to be victimized, but if they are, we've got them. And so just make sure that they know that they can reach out, and we're going to tailor the services provided to them according to each individual. So just keep talking about it all the time. And if you find an opportunity where we can get in and give some education, let me know. We have people that do that.
Is this still calling the 350-8004 number?
Yes, ma'am. You know that number. don't you?
480-350-8004. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Garland. Councilmember Navarro, then Councilmember Hodge.
No, thank you for the presentation. I mean, we're getting a lot of awareness. I know in my department, I've already gone through the training and the awareness at the airport. And I just want to say, actually, the training has done some good. I had personally had a call just like that. So we had a victim that had doors reversed the other way. And we were just finding it so odd. Why is this happening? And then once the trafficker came in, it was a different mood. And we recognized that. And that was a real good sign. But it was the training that got us there. So, you know, those things are a real benefit for us in public safety. And thank you for what you do at Care 7, because you guys take the brunt of all this stuff. And the education and the pieces and just the delivery of this stuff is just incredible.
Yeah, it is important. I thank you for that. It's, you know, it's like when we learned about domestic violence and what are the signs of domestic violence. This is very similar. And I think that, you know, our teachers can also really be, you know, if our kids aren't at home, they're at school. So we really need to not brush it off. If you see something, say something. I know a department that has that as their motto. See something, say something.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Councilmember Hodge.
Okay, as everybody else said today, thank you so much for your presentation. I also want to thank the police department because I know how much work they have to put into this. And this is not an easy job for them to have to do because they have to deal with the victims and they have to deal with the suspects. So it's got to be hard for them to see it. One of my questions is, I know that we do a lot with the schools in Care 7. So is there any extra trainings they can go through or anything that we can put a layer over that with the Super Bowl coming? Because I don't think kids understand exactly what's happening. And this is going to be a time that they got to be more cautious. Is there anything that we can do to heighten that security around that so they can get that?
There is. That's a really good question. We are meeting. We just met with the governor's office last week to discuss the upcoming events. And so as those roll out, we'll partner with our SROs to see if we can get those messages into the school. I know it seems like a long time until February, but it will be here before we know it. So thank you for that opportunity. And as we like to do this from a regional approach, as you know, it's force multiplier when we leverage each other. So we will follow their lead. They've asked us to do that, so we will do that. And when I find an opportunity, I will present it to you so that we can implement it in the schools, which I think is an important place to do that.
Thank you so much.
You're
and
welcome.
My next question is, I know we are emphasizing the high school and the middle schools, but what are we doing? Because there's a lot of college age kids that get caught in this too. You know, if you go onto some websites, sugar baby, you know, I mean, and they start off with that and end up in human trafficking. I just want to make sure that we also emphasize those older children, our older adults, they're college students, that we are a college town. What are we doing to partner with ASU to make sure they get the word out as well?
ASU is such a good partner for Tempe on so many topics, and ASU is a partner in our Family Advocacy Center. So I meet regularly with the lead of their counseling department who oversees their advocacy program. And we are just now getting started to do things together like this. We are tabling events on the ASU campus this month as well. But you're right, you know, that the students sometimes leave home for the first time to come here and live here.
Barely 18 years old.
Freedom, yeah. ASU does a really good job and they are very good partners. So we will continue to work together. And as we start working together side by side every day at the Family Advocacy Center, I only see this getting better.
My last question is, we're surrounded by tribal, and I believe that the Native Americans, I know for a fact that the Native American women are being targeted at an even higher rate, and no one knows about it because there is sometimes that they're missing.
They're missing.
So what are we doing to work with our tribes to make sure that we're getting the word out around us, surrounding? Because you said a regional, but I think this is a very important regional thing that we need to all embrace and do whatever we can. So what can we do to make sure we help our Native American tribe and our women that are being missing and being human trafficked and nobody's paying attention to it?
Yep. Talk about it, but luckily one of our partners in our regional community response, which is crisis responders, is Gila River.
Okay.
And so they sit at the table with us, and they have a very difficult time filling positions. I am telling you, we need to help them find candidates for their positions. They really want to bring a lot of the services to their community. So we partner with them daily. They just had a very tragic incident that we all work together to help support them through. So, but it's, again, back to the kids, back to the kids, back to the kids. Got to get into the schools. Everybody wants into the schools, right?
That's right.
That's right.
Well, thank you so much. And I
You're
just
welcome.
want to give a shout out to Chief Assistant Anderson out there, who does very well of trying to keep us updated on what's going on with
Yes,
traffic.
and
so
who
thank you out there.
allows, and promotes
He does.
his staff to
He does
participate in this,
a good
yes.
job of promoting
Yeah.
it. So he's one of the lead on it. So thank you so much out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all
Any-
very much.
Anyone else? Comments? Sounds good. Chris, thank you so much.
You're
Really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, next, up, Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Our next presentation is 5B2, Community Supervision Incentives Program.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Diana Calandros, and I'm the manager of the Community Supervision and Counseling Services, which is within the Tempe Human Services Department. Tonight, I'm going to be presenting on community supervision, and we'll be highlighting the new incentives-based fee program. I look forward to your questions and comments. I will be covering the purpose and function of community supervision, the incentives program design, and the alignment of the incentives program with established council priorities and performance measures. Today's discussion will highlight a change in community supervision's fee process, specifically how our program has advanced from a basic fee structure to an incentive-based fee structure, which is now more aligned with Council Priority 1.17, community supervision rearrest rates, as well as the city's support of the Right to Breathe initiative. First, a little background. Community supervision partners with the Tempe Municipal Court and the City Prosecutor's Office to provide an alternative solution to jail for individuals charged with misdemeanors within the city. We do this by providing trauma-informed services to ensure individuals are held accountable while at the same time providing referrals to clinically appropriate treatment and connections to new learning opportunities. Since 1975, the City of Tempe established and managed this program in a very unique and forward-thinking manner. It is currently housed under Human Services, where staff have the ability to connect resources to develop a stronger, more stable individual and a stronger community. Just a brief overview of our programs. Our diversion programs is where individuals arrested for certain first-time misdemeanors can complete assigned requirements and the charges will be dismissed. We have 2 youth programs which provide education and, if appropriate, referrals to counseling and substance use treatment. Supervised probation is for higher risk individuals where they are linked to treatment, programming, and educational opportunities. We are lead participant in the Regional Veterans Court, which is problem-solving court addressing pending criminal charges for persons who currently are or who have served in the U.S. Armed Forces. Supporting Next Steps is a reentry program targeting high-risk individuals and their children. Home Detention is a program that is an alternative to the required jail time for persons convicted of a DUI. Starting on September 1st of this year, we introduced the Incentives Program. With most of the community supervisions programs, there is a monthly fee which can be financially burdensome to individuals and their families. The Incentives Program provides an alternative for the defendants to repay the city these fees. Individuals invest their time, energy, and effort, and in return, they are credited a monetary value which is applied to reduce or eliminate these fees. Clients will have an opportunity to voluntarily engage in pro-social activities, most or all of which are free, in addition to their standard community supervision requirements. These activities can include parenting classes, financial counseling classes, job interview, preparation, GED classes, community service, and more. The increased engagement in pro-social activities is a known protector factor against criminal recidivism. It also avoids trapping lower-income community supervision clients in a never-ending loop of debt, failure to pay, and noncompliance resulting from unpaid fees. This increases equity to everyone. As an example, right as we started this program, I received a call from a young man who wanted to finish his program and he wanted to be successful, but he owed us $100 in community supervision fees. He explained how this $100 was really a hardship to his family at this point in time. His rent had increased, and he had had some unexpected medical expenses related to his daughter. He asked if there was anything that I could do for him. Before incentives, my answer would have been no. If he hadn't been able to pay that $100, he would have been sent back to court. His case would have been returned as unsuccessful. And eventually, if he had still been unable to pay that $100, we would have turned that over to collections. With incentives, we talked about that, and he chose to take some free parenting classes. A week or so later, he called to thank me for that opportunity and to tell me how much he had learned from those classes. He told me he learned so much and he liked them so well that he was actually going to take more classes after his community supervision had ended. Our most valuable and non-renewable resource is time, and we recognize for persons under community supervision, their time and efforts are valued. We are investing in the participants' future and the future of the community. As stated at the beginning of the presentation, the incentives-based fee program is directly linked to reducing recidivism rates in performance measure 1.17. And with respect to the Right to Breathe initiative, the incentives program is aware of the systemic inequities leading to involvement in the justice system and within the justice system itself. By incentivizing pro-social activities identified through research, we are increasing the value of the person, creating new opportunities, increasing the likelihood for success, and all the while we are decreasing the chance for recidivism. And I appreciate your time and the ability to present tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Vice Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I'm particularly excited about the incentive program and getting people out of the system. As a former diversion counselor, I remember when the people couldn't pay their fees, and it was really stressful for everyone. So I'm really glad that we're doing this, and what a great story about that he took parenting classes and wants to continue. That's really a win-win, and just getting them out of the system is so important, so they're not going back to court all the time and then being reassigned or being charged and having this permanent record. And so I just really appreciate everything you do, and thank you very much for your presentation this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Adams. Councilmember Garland?
I'm so glad you're here. It's so good to see you again. I still want to get a tour or shadow you guys in your department. And as I told you the other day, I'm really glad that you're here talking about this program. I think this program is incredible. I think, as you remember, I went on a trip to New Orleans and some other places with the Tempe Police Department, some members, and Amanda Chavez. And she told us about this program, and I was so excited to hear about it and some of the stories that are coming out of your department. So I think it's wonderful what you're doing. I've heard nothing but incredible praise about you and the difference that you've made in that department. And I think one of the really small little things but makes a big difference is, I'm not sure what the title was before, but I understand that when you got there, you started calling the people who came in clients. And that little bit of a change made a difference for not only employees, but for the people that were coming in too. So I just wanted to say I'm so glad that you're here and the differences that you're making in your department. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Any other comments, questions from council?
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, thank you. Mr. City Manager, any more announcements?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Lastly, tonight, I would have the honor to introduce to you our new Chief Diversity Officer, Dr. Valisa McMillan Humes, is sitting in the second row over there to your left. She's standing up.
Welcome, thank you.
Dr. Humes started on Monday, but she's not new to the area of diversity, equity, inclusion. She has an extensive background in all those areas, including time working in the city of Scottsdale. We're very, very excited for have her carry on the work that's been done in this area, dating back to at least 2002, when the diversity office was first created, and carrying on that important work that was started by our Chief Deputy City Manager, Rosa Chelsea, who's sitting right in front of Dr. Humes, is so important. And I think this community and this council understands that. And we entrust that important work to someone of the caliber of Dr. Humes, it's certainly an honor to be able to have her as part of our team. Thank you.
Excellent. Anything else, Mr. City Manager?
Nope, nothing else. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much. Next up, item number 6, public appearances. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council this evening? If so, please get my attention now. Well, that saves me from having to read a rather lengthy statement. So. Next up then, item number 7, consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda will be considered as a group and will be enacted with one motion by the City Council unless an item is removed for separate consideration. Members of the public may remove public hearing items for separate consideration. Public hearing items are designated as public hearing item at the beginning of the item title. Council members may remove any item for separate consideration or to declare a conflict of interest. If a council member would like to declare a conflict at this time, the city clerk will provide the council member with the disclosure form. I should say, if you wish to speak on a public hearing item, please fill out a speaker card and submit your completed card to the clerk prior to the agenda item coming forward for council discussion. I will call your name when it is your turn for public comment. The consent agenda this evening is listed as miscellaneous items 7A1 through 7A14, awards of bids and contracts items 7B1 through 7B15, and resolutions items 7C1 through 7C17, with the exception of item 7C2, which is being pulled off for separate consideration by the City Council. I'm also going to be pulling for separate consideration item 7A7. Is there anything else anyone else would like to pull? All right, also I should go back and note that any agenda item designated as public hearing item can be removed by a member of the public for separate consideration. If anyone would like to have a public hearing item removed, please get my attention now. All right, seeing none, I will turn to our clerk to see, Ms. Rees, if there were any comments received from the public wishing to address the City Council on a consent agenda public hearing item.
None received, Mayor.
Okay, thank you so much. Then I'm going to ask my colleagues to see if I can have a motion to approve the consent agenda items as written, with the exception of items 7A7 and item 7C2.
So move.
Moved by Councilmember Hodge. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Chin. Please vote. All right, and that item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. All right, so we've got 2 items here that were pulled for separate consideration. The first item is item 7A7, which is to approve an amended subdivision plat for Banyan North Tempe, located at 906 North Miller Road. The applicant is Rick Engineering Company. Is there anyone here who can speak to that? Yes. Can you come up and please state your name and firm?
Good evening. My name is Alexis Proper, and I work for Heel Mantle and Affiliates. And we're not the applicant, but we are here on behalf of them.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alexis. Just a very, something really important I wanted to make sure that I got across. Congratulations on passing the bar.
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
That was my very important announcement. Does anyone else have anything?
No, it was a great job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
With that said, can I have a motion on item 7A7?
So moved.
Been moved by Vice Mayor Adams, seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote.
Oh.
And that item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. The next item is item 7C2, which is to adopt a resolution to authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with the National Park Service through the Arizona State Historic Preservation Office for a grant to fund a historic context study of Asian American Tempe residents. Council, any comments or discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion on item 7C2?
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilmember Hodge and seconded by Councilmember Chin. Please vote. And that item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. All right. Moving right along here, item number 8 is the non-consent agenda. All items listed on the non-consent agenda will be considered separately. Agenda items scheduled for introduction and first public hearing will be heard but will not be voted upon at this meeting. Agenda items scheduled for second public hearing and final adoption will be voted upon tonight. Council members who may have a conflict of interest may abstain from voting on a matter, and the city clerk will provide the council members with the disclosure form. First up, we have item 8A, miscellaneous items, bids, contracts, and resolutions. First item is 8A1, which is to adopt notice of intention to increase water and wastewater rates and set the date and time for the public hearing on proposed increases at 6 p.m. on January 5th, 2023. Council, any comments or discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion on item 8A1?
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Navarro, seconded by Vice Mayor Adams. Please vote. And that item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. The next item under the section is 8A2, which is to approve the utilization of a one-year State of Arizona cooperative contract with Motorola Solutions Incorporated for two-way radios, parts, and related repair and maintenance services for the city's public safety radio systems. Council, any comments or discussion?
I do.
It's been moved by Councilmember Garland and seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote.
I just
Oh.
I just wanted to say,
Oh,
I
okay.
actually went to Chicago with Rosa, and we actually physically got to see the radios and stuff personally while we were in Chicago. So
All right.
I'm excited.
Good stuff?
All right.
All right, sounds good. All right, with that said, once again, the motion was made by Councilmember Garland and seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote. And that item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. The next item under the section is 8A3, which is to award a professional services contract to HDR Engineering Incorporated for the water transmission inventory and assessment Phase 2 project located at various locations throughout the city. Council, any comments or discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion on item 8A3? Been moved by Councilmember Navarro and seconded by Vice Mayor Adams. Please vote. And that item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. The next item of the section is 8A4, which is to award a construction contract to Nesbitt Contracting Company Incorporated for the pavement preservation Optimus Park neighborhood project bound by McClintock Drive, Baseline Road, Price Road, and Guadalupe Road. Council, any comments or discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Councilmember Hodge and seconded by Vice Mayor Adams. Please vote. That item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. The last item under the section is 8A5, which is to approve an addendum to the contract with Commonwealth Heritage Group Incorporated for the architectural, archaeological documentation and mitigation and HUD environmental clearance, Apache Boulevard parcels, work plan, and permitting project. Council, any comments or discussion? Been moved by Councilmember Garland. Have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Mayor Adams. Please vote. And that item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. The next section on the non-consent agenda is ordinances and items for introduction and first hearing. These items will be read and introduced tonight, but no votes will be taken. The second hearing and vote for these items is scheduled for November 3rd, 2022. The first item under the section is 8B1, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance approving a development and disposition agreement for developer-owned real property located at 1122 East Vista del Lago and authorizing the mayor to execute a development agreement, one or more deeds, leases, and related documents with Lincoln Property Company National LLC to effect such transaction. Is there a presentation? I see Maria Lochner and Nick Wood. Go for it.
All right. Hello, Mayor and Council members. Maria Lochner, Economic Development.
Nick Wood, Snow and Wilmer, on behalf of Lincoln.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Before I should ask for any presentation, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, I would just ask, given the fact this is the first hearing, is there a little bit of a presentation we can have this evening for public transparency?
Mayors, members of the council, you saw this about a month and a half ago when you approved the zoning. I'm just going to run through the design. As you can see, we went over the architecture, beautiful elements of the project right on Tempe Town Lake. And of course, you can see the improvements that we're going to do between the levee and the sidewalk itself. Here you go. I don't know how to work these things.
There you go.
There we go. Project parameters, we've got about 250 total units, 21-story tower, 577 parking spaces. 2,400 square feet of ground floor commercial space is actually going to be extended to 4,000 square feet, which is what we did when we went through the DRC. Amenities will include the 7th floor lounge and, of course, a mix of units of high-end and rental.
All right. Thank you, Nick. So I wanted to talk about the benefits this project is bringing to the city of Tempe. First of all, the developer has elected to participate in our streetcar development extension program. As you know, the streetcar does not go out past Marina Heights yet, but we know that it will, as extensions have been planned through Valley Metro. So they will be participating in that with an agreement. They will also be making a total of $100,000 in voluntary contributions to Tempe school districts. And they will donate $4.65 million to the Tempe Coalition for Affordable Housing.
How much was that again?
$4.65 million.
Thank you, Mr. Wood.
Thank me, thank my client.
They will be installing 10 electric vehicle charging stations, of which 4 will be available to the public. They're going to pay rent to the city over the abatement period of a little over $500,000, and they're going to donate $1 million to the city to help build that eastern pedestrian bridge across Tempe Town Lake. We also wanted to note that our economic impact analysis said that this project would provide tax revenues direct to the city of Tempe of approximately $5 million. So with that, we are here to answer any questions.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Vice Mayor Adams, then Councilmember Navarro, then Councilmember Garland.
Thank you. I'm very excited about the pedestrian bridge. I've been wanting that for a long time, so thank you. I thank your client, Mr. Wood. Also, the charging stations, are we going to have it, the building so they can easily hook up more as we get more electric vehicles?
Yeah, there's additional capacity to add.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. And that's great too about the streetcar. So excited to see that extended out and very much needed. So I think this is a great project. I'm glad you talked about the $5 million and how much that benefits our community, because I think a lot of times community members, don't understand that as well. So I'm really glad that you added that to the presentation. I think this is a great project. I'm super excited about it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Adams. Councilmember Navarro.
Thank you, Mayor. No, I just want to, once again, highlight the point. I mean, and it's so important to Tempe is the affordable housing, and 4.6 million, I mean, it's just tremendous. It's unbelievable, to be honest with you, Mayor. And I just want to say, this is just one project, but this has been a momentum that has been growing and growing within the city of Tempe. And now us having the ability to achieve what we need to for affordable housing. It's projects like these and others that are coming down the pipe that have a tremendous value for Tempe and have a tremendous value for the projects and every project, as workers need to be in those places and need to live nearby. So I think this is awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Navarro. Councilmember Garland.
Yeah, thanks. Councilmember Adams got my question in there. I wanted to know about the EV, so you can just tell how important it is that we want that additional opportunity for the EV charging stations to be able to go in. That's really important to this project. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from council? Councilmember Hodge.
Thank you so much for sending, for the education part of it. Schools always need it. They're going off overrides right now for the same reasons. They don't have enough money in education. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for the charging stations too. That was one of my things too. So thank you.
I was just going to say very quickly as well, just, once again, thank you for all, not just a great project, but frankly, all of these contributions when it comes to our education organizations in the city, the pedestrian bridge, the $4.65 million for affordable housing, and of course, the EV charging stations. It once again proves that you can get people to develop projects in the city that are aesthetically beautiful and provide additional housing that we definitely need, not only in Tempe and throughout Maricopa County, but that you get developers who are great community partners and are really trying to contribute to a whole host of things that are valuable not just to the people who will live in this project, but that everyone in our city, frankly, will benefit from. And I think you touched upon so many important areas. So Mr. Wood, please give my compliments to your client. We really appreciate their commitment to the city of Tempe. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Council, any other comments or discussion? All right, just want to reiterate, second and final public hearing on this item is scheduled for November 3rd, 2022. The next item under the section is 8B2, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance amending the city code relating to City of Tempe Park and Preserve rules by amending sections 23 through 38, 23 through 40, 23-110, and 23-111 relating to authority to establish additional prohibited activities. Council, any questions for staff or any comments? Vice Mayor Adams?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'm just really excited that we're doing this and just wondering how fast we can get the signs up.
I'll look to Craig Hayton, our Community Services Director.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor. Craig Hayton, Community Services Director, and council members. We have implemented some rule changes in various parks. This would implement it throughout. We've already added some signage updates for the ones that we've implemented already. So it typically takes a week or two to get the signs fabricated, the stickers put on. So it's a pretty quick turnaround. So we would look at what's left, identify those, and we can certainly get ready ahead of that second public hearing so that we're ready
And
to go.
where is it? Where do we need to add signs?
We would add stickers to the existing signage within the parks, is
Oh,
how
okay.
we're updating it currently, where there are prohibited activities already located. So we're just making notifications there. We don't list on the signs all of the park rules, but we do want to highlight the ones that will be new for folks who will be visiting parks.
Okay. And what do you hope to achieve by this new signage?
Our goal would be to reinforce what is acceptable behavior within parks so that folks know that blocking access to amenities, damaging landscapes, we're bringing in some additional rules within the Parks Code that's already state law about prohibited drug paraphernalia and drug use. So we're just trying to make it really clear to folks who are utilizing parks. Everybody has the right to use the parks, but everybody needs to use them responsibly.
So do you anticipate the community feeling more safe to go to the parks then with this new signage?
That would be hope. That would be our hope. We're working obviously in conjunction with many other departments, the police department, human services as well. We had a great collaborative conversation with the Parks Board last night around park safety that included an update on park signage and rules as well, and enforcement and outreach.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the council on this item? If so, please get my attention. All right, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any additional comments or discussion? Okay, sounds good. Okay, the second and final public hearing on this item is scheduled for November 3rd, 2022. The next item under the section is 8B3, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance authorizing the abandonment of a portion of a water line easement located east of Rural Road and south of the 6th Street alignment. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the City Council on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any comments or discussion? Hearing none, the second and final public hearing on this item is scheduled for November 3rd, 2022. The next item under the section is 8B4, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance authorizing the abandonment of portions of right-of-way located on Vista del Lago Drive, Pier 202, adjacent to Lot 6, situated in the north half of Section 14, Township 1, North Range 4 East, Gila and Salt River Base in Meridian, Maricopa County, Arizona. It's a mouthful. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any comments or discussion? Can't say I'm shocked by that. Now, we're just to reiterate, the second and final public hearing on this item is scheduled for November 3rd, 2022. The next item under the section is 8B5, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 12 of the Tempe City Code by amending Articles 2 through 3, Tempe City Code relating to drainage and flood control by amending Sections 12-16 through 12-35 relating to floodplain management, amending Section 12-36 relating to floodways, and repealing Sections 12-37 through 12-41 relating to the Salt River Flood Channel. Council, any questions for staff on this item? Hearing none, anyone in the audience wishing to address the council on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. I want to reiterate, the second and final public hearing on this item is scheduled for November 3rd, 2022. The next item under the section is 8B6, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance authorizing the granting of a power distribution easement to Salt River Project Agricultural Improvement and Power District over certain city-owned land located at 2200 West Alameda Drive, which is Tempe Diablo Stadium, and authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute an easement agreement and related documents. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the city council on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any comments or discussion? I want to reiterate, second and final public hearing on this item is scheduled for November 3rd, 2022. The last item under this section is 8B7, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance authorizing the granting of a power distribution easement to Salt River Project Agricultural Improvement and Power District over certain city-owned land located at 7845 South Rural Road, serving the Carver Sewage Pumping Station, and authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute an easement agreement and related documents. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the city council on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any comments or discussion? Okay, want to reiterate, second and final public hearing of this item is scheduled for November 3rd, 2022. Next up, we have second public hearing and final adoption items. These items were read and introduced back on September 22nd, 2022, and votes on these items will be taken tonight. First item under the section is 8C1, which is to hold the second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance for a code text amendment for ASU Athletic Facilities District Planning Area Overlay, which is the Novus Innovation Corridor, consisting of changes within the code that regulates the number of hotel keys within the university and rural mixed-use land area. The applicant is Gamage & Burnham, PLC. I see Ms. Voss from Gamage & Burnham. Would you like to make a presentation?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, for the record, Monchula Voss, law firm of Gamage & Burnham. As you may remember, we made a pretty extensive presentation last time, so certainly happy to make another presentation, but I think, our goal is to try to, Novus is doing well. We're just trying to increase the number of hotel keys within Novus, so happy to answer any questions, can give a presentation, whatever you'd like.
Sounds good. Thank you. I know we did get a presentation about this at the previous hearing. Anyone else have any questions or comments? Vice Mayor Adams?
Yes, I think this is a great project, and I'm glad that we're increasing the keys for the hotels. So thank you, Ms. Voss, for leading this effort.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Let me see while Ms. Voss is still up here. Does anyone in the audience wish to address the council on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any further comments or discussion?
So move.
It's been moved by Councilmember Hodge.
Second.
Seconded by Vice Mayor Adams. Please vote.
Nice. Congratulations.
And that item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent.
Thank you very much, and I want to congratulate Councilmember Navarro on his Ted Lasso mustache.
All right, the meeting is now adjourned. No, I'm kidding. The next item under this section, or the last item I should say, is 8C2, which is to hold the second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance authorizing the abandonment of a water line easement located in a development north of Elliott Road and west of Harle Avenue. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the city council on this item, get my attention? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any comments or discussion?
So move.
Moved by Councilmember Hodge, seconded by Councilmember Navarro. Please vote.
It's an aye, I can't.
All right, and that item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. That brings us to item number 9, current events, council announcements, and future agenda items. We're going to call upon the council members for their comments. I always go in alphabetical order to make it easier for our good folks at Tempe 11, which means I am starting this evening with Vice Mayor Adams. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have a few announcements this evening. My first one is the Spooky Sprint. We're calling all monsters and goblins to the Tempe Family YMCA. Is holding their 4th annual Spooky Sprint 5K road race on Saturday, October 29th. So bring your kids and come on out. It's $25 for each individual, and for a family of 4, it's $40, which includes the Spooky Sprint 5K t-shirt. Check-in starts at 7 a.m., so you have to get up early, but it's worth it, and the race starts at 8:30. Costumes are definitely encouraged, and we see the best costumes out there. So please get your costumes out and And they will be giving out prizes for best costumes. And you can register online at valleymca.org/Tempe. All right, now the next one, and I love a parade. The Downtown Tempe Authority is looking for participants for this year's Fantasy of Lights Street Parade and tree lighting. The event is on the evening of November 25th, the day after Thanksgiving. Folks participate in the parade come in all shapes and sizes, so anyone can participate. Wrap your company vehicle in lights or festive fare, create a float, or have your troop or group cover your bikes, scooters, or golf carts in lights and join in the fun. Or you can get in some steps by wrapping yourself up in lights and walking on the parade route. Applications closed November 7th at 5 p.m. So hurry, and you don't want to miss out on this fun. It's a great parade, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to attend this year, but I know it will still be fun. Finally, I have Tempe Jam for all the South Tempe neighbors, and quite frankly, all the community members in Tempe. Tempe Jam is headed your way tomorrow night, October 21st. Come check it out at the Tempe Sports Complex, starting at 7 p.m. Tempe Jam is free. It's annual music celebration to honor and highlight local bands and musicians who live, work, and play in Tempe. So it's our own folks. Banana Gun, Paper Foxes, and the Stakes will take the stage this year, as well as the Sacred G's, a local street dance group involving dancers in LED light suits. Tie-dye your own free concert event shirt designed by the local artist Lizzie Lady Egg Lubitsky, and grab a beverage of beer or wine or water or pop or anything you want. There's a garden by the Tempe Diablos, so they'll have a beer garden there for everyone. And don't forget to enjoy some great food truck fare. They'll be offering everything from new Mexican and Greek cuisine to comfort food, ice cream, and gourmet coffee. We hope to see you there, and I'm looking forward to kicking that event off for the mayor tomorrow night. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Adams. Next up is Councilmember Chin. Nothing this evening. Thank you so much. I'm going to now turn then to Councilmember Garland.
I don't have an announcement, but I just want to say something I've been thinking about all day. This morning I went to a funeral for a friend of mine who is my age, and her son was my son's best friend for a really long time. And everybody used to call her Mama Hags because she was everybody's mom. And she was spunky and she was kind. And the thing that I was thinking about all day today is how crazy our world is and how politics kind of brings out the ugly in people who are really normally really good people. So in honor of Karen Haggerty, I just want to remind people, just do whatever you can to be kind to each other and don't miss an opportunity to hug or tell somebody that you love them, a friend or a family member. Just be kind. Just want to share that message. It's been on my heart all day.
Absolutely. Thank you. Next up, I'm going to go to Councilmember Hodge.
Well, I just want to start off by, you have one of the best hearts, so just thank you so much for all that you do. You're like the mother of all of us over here, so we just love you, and you always look out for all of us. So thank you so much for what you do. On that, we have a rec. Councilmember Keating and I have a rec meeting on Monday at 3 p.m., so if you want to join in. I'm going to remind everybody always again that we have an override for our Tempe L and Tempe Union schools, so please, please go out and vote for that. It's very important for public education. And also, we won't be able to get a chance to say it, but I hope everybody have a safe and happy Halloween for whatever you do. Just make sure that you follow all the safety rules out there and take care of each other, because even though it's a great holiday, sometimes people use it as a prey to get to other people. So just take care of yourself and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Hodge. Next up, Councilmember Navarro.
Thank you, Mayor. I think I got several slides. Oh, there I am. Gin blossoms. That was a good little week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you guys are not there. Anyways, there I am.
Wow.
No, it was a great little Friday last Friday ago. Gin blossoms are in town. We did a street dedication right in front of Four Peaks Brewing Company, and it is now a ceremonial road, I call it, I guess. It's Allison Road Avenue. So 8th Street people, your address is still good. It'd be cool if you were on Allison Road though. But anyways, it was a great dedication. We had more than 250 people out there at 7 o'clock in the morning, listening to 2 songs, going out there, meeting Robin Williams, Jesse Valenzuela, Bill Lean, and Scotty Johnson as they played. And then Saturday night, they actually did a fundraiser for Valleywise at Scottsdale, one of the Scottsdale Airport hangars. And they had a full concert out there. It was a tremendous event. And I have to tell you, these guys have been such a landmark for Tempe and really putting the Tempe music scene on the chart way back in the late 80s, 90s, and continuing that momentum like Tempe Jams with bands like Banana Gun and others. I mean, it just says a lot about Tempe, what the music scene has been, what we're trying to develop. I know COVID's kind of shut a little stuff down, but we're going to bring that music scene back up. It's near and dear to my heart, so I do appreciate the dedication. I just want you to also know we dedicated a plaque on Mill out here in Mill and 4th Avenue, and so there's a plaque dedication also for the Gin Blossom. So once again, what a great band. It was a good time seeing them out there, and actually Scotty Johnson snuck in and played over at Boondocks later that night, one of their songs, so it was kind of cool seeing that. Next slide. There I am again.
We can see that. We can see it as some kind of thing.
This is how it's going to be.
I see a theme developing here.
So there I am with the Mexican consulate, Jorge Mendoza. We actually were just doing a press dedication for Dias de los Muertos, Day of the Dead celebration, which is going to be here in Tempe, October 28th, starting at 4:30 p.m. and ends November 2nd. It's a day that we honor and celebrate our relatives, friends, and pets, where we believe, or the Hispanic culture believes, their souls are returned by a guideline of the candles. So we celebrate with food and drinks, and we honor their journey as they're going forward. It's a great little day out there. It's going to be a good event. Please come out at the Hackett House, which is right there on 4th Street. It's one of the oldest houses we have here in Tempe, and good place to have the little event. So that's going to be going on October 28th, starting at 4:30 p.m. Do I have another one? Oh, there I am again. I'm in the back.
Oh.
Back row. Public Safety Day. That was a good little event. Friendship Village had public safety members come on out and just did a little lunch barbecue celebration, and the barbecue was delicious. I'll be back out there October 28th doing a little job with Joel at Friendship Village. It's great to hear from the community over there and some of the concerns, and we're just going to have a free-flowing conversation on about 4 to 6 topics that they'd like to talk about. And I think that with Aging Arizona being the most vulnerable population, I think their voices being heard is outstanding, and we'll be over there at Java with Joel October 28th, where you can see me.
What time? What time?
28th?
What
Oh,
time?
I don't know. They didn't put the time on that thing, did they? I say about 9 a.m. It's a Saturday, right? We're going 9 a.m.
We're going with it.
I don't know. Sarah? 8. Let's go 8. We got dinner at 4. So, all right, 8 a.m. Thank you. That's all I got, Mayor.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. I don't have any comments this evening, so I will move right into item number 10, public appearances. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the city council? And if so, please come forward, state your name and city of residence for the record. Seeing none, that moves us to item number 11, which is adjournment. The next regular scheduled meeting is on November 3rd, 2022. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good evening. Council, we have an executive session to finish upstairs.